Hey, so in this, we're going to go over the types of numbers that exist, and it's essentially been a progress from the early development of numbers to what we have now. And yeah, we slowly discovered them and made sense of them. So these are the types of numbers that exist. So they're the natural numbers or the counting numbers. These are the very first types. So one, two, three, four, and on. And those go up as high as we can count. And we denote that with an N with a double back. So it's got two backs on the end. So kind of like that. Now we have the whole numbers. So whole numbers, they start with 0. So we've just essentially got that natural numbers with a 0. And we can do this with a double back W. And now we have the integers. So the integers are all the counting numbers, but they are negative as well. And they include 0. And they go on. And we do the integers by a double-backed I, which now kind of looks like a Z. But it's a double-back I. It's got two backs in the middle. So now we have a rational numbers. So a rational number is a ratio of two numbers, which we'll call P and Q, and P and Q are integers, and Q can't equal 0. So it's a ratio of any two numbers. So it could be 1 over 2, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, 1 over 5. It can't be 1 over 0, but it could also be a negative number. It could be, negative 7 over 4. So that's going to create a large amount of these numbers. And then we have the irrational numbers. So irrational numbers are numbers that can't be expressed as the ratio of two numbers. So the rational is the ratio, and irrational is the something that can't be expressed as a ratio. So we have unique numbers. So pi, um, we have the root of 2. The root of any number that can't is not expressed as a ratio. It does not express as a ratio. So the root of 3, the negative root of 7, 1 over root 5. So it's all these numbers that just do not have a repeating pattern to them. So rational numbers always have a repeating pattern. These just go on in a rational pattern. And now we have the real numbers. So the real numbers are essentially all possible numbers. So because natural numbers are a subset of rational numbers, as are integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers are all subsets of rational numbers. But irrational numbers and rational numbers are two separate parts. So the real numbers are essentially the rational and irrational. So it's the set of both of these types of numbers. So here we would have, if we were going anywhere like right at, let's say pi, we would have a circle, like a space, if we only had the rational numbers. But because we have the irrational as well, we have this solid line. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And we denote real numbers by a double-backed R. And that is it. There are things called complex numbers, but we're just not going to go into that because that's not for this.